So nearly 15 years ago I actually had an idea for a sword, and this is that sword. There's a guy I knew who was working in an industrial laser cutting facility, and they were able to cut out really large pieces like this. And at the time he owed me a favour, so this is actually one of 3 blank templates that I actually had cut out in stainless steel. And as I said, it's actually been kicking around in my to-do bucket for about 15 years. It is my own design, but it was inspired by a knife that was designed by Gil Hibben. And he's very famous in the knife making world for, really nice fantasy blades and that sort of stuff, as well as practical blades, Bowie knives and that sort of stuff. Everything from Buffy to Rambo to Star Trek to there's one in the new Expendables movies that's one of his designs, and he's still kicking around now. I think he must be almost 80 by now, and he's been doing a lot of stuff for a lot of years. Most of his knife designs now are available through United Cutlery, and I don't think he's actually designing anything himself anymore, but a lot of his designs are still being manufactured and reproduced. The knife that's inspired this one was called the Dragon Lord. It's still available, kicking around from place to place, and you can see there's some fairly significant differences, obviously in the size first of all, and in the placement of the shark tooth arrangement. I've come further down towards the handle and done a little bit more. You can see the type of pedigree I'm trying to follow in terms of the overall design and look of it. Whilst I've made a few changes to the blade, the one thing I do quite like the look of is the guard in particular and some of the aspects of the handle. So I'm going to try and incorporate similar elements and similar look to it. Even though this is a 1.5 to a 2-handed sword, I'm hopefully going to be able to get a similar sort of feel to the look of the handle. Not really a big fan of the little dragon tail piece that's there, so I think I'm just going to go for something that's a little bit more simple. Not quite there yet sort of thing, but that's kind of close to what we're talking about in terms of the shape. The roughed out clay pieces they're drying now. Once they're firmer, I'll do a little bit more sculpting into them to get a bit more detail before they're ready to be cast. But because I'm going to be firing up the forge again, I'm going to be trying to do 2 projects simultaneously. A little while back my son and I did a project on a Predator skull. It came with resin pieces, but I used the same sort of casting process that I've been doing to make a stand out of aluminium, and they came out really nicely. So I thought I'd have a go at doing some full-size gauntlet wrist blades. So I've got a template that I've actually cut out there and just sprayed some paint that I had left over so I can get a shadow of what I want to work with. There's a couple different versions of the gauntlet blades out there, and I've pretty much selected these ones based on what I like the look of myself. I've got most of the carving done into the blade there now so that it has the proper look of the divided up sections of the blade. I now need to repeat that on the other side. I could just eyeball it and draw it in there, and because it's a double-sided thing, it wouldn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I want to try and get it as close to spot on as I can. So I thought I'd just show you a quick tip that I worked out for transferring that carved profile onto the other side with as high a degree of detail as possible. So what I've got is some baking paper that I've just pinched out of my wife's kitchen. This stuff has what you'd call a matte and a shiny side. The side that you need to use is the non-shiny side. What we're basically going to do here is a rubbing to pick up these details, and you could just as easily do this with just a regular pencil. I'm going to do it using my graphite powder because it just works really easily. And effectively what we're doing here is creating a piece of carbon paper that has the same sort of shape on it, and it'll give us the mirror image that we need to actually transfer stuff over. I don't have to do the whole surface, I only just need to work on where those details are that I want to pick up. Now all I need to do is just flip that over, flip this over, that gives me my mirror image. Just line that up to the same sort of pattern, and then just with a pen or a pencil, just trace over those same contour lines. And just like carbon paper, it should transfer onto the wood so that I can see where to work. That's just transferred those lines into the perfect position, and because it's mirrored, they'll perfectly match what is on the other side. That's the basic shape roughed out and sanded fairly well. What I need to do now is actually seal the surface of that so that it's not going to have any issues when it comes to the sand. So I've painted that over with the resin, and it's soaked into the timber and set really nicely. So that's sanded up pretty well. I've got to polish it a little bit more. If I was using this as a prop piece itself, I'd probably coat that again with one more coat of resin just to thicken up that coating a little bit more, and then that could be painted and weathered exactly as it is. Or alternately, you could very easily pull a mould off that and then use it to actually cast out resin pieces as well if you really wanted to. That's it with a final gloss coat on it. That should give me enough of a smooth surface now to actually have a workable pattern piece. So I'll set that aside to dry for now. But that's pretty much the update for this time, guys. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.